Hi, I'm Sam, and this is Red Carpet Talk. Today I'm doing an unboxing video. I know that sounds a bit abnormal for a movie coverage channel. However, it's specifically related to Wicked for Good. I went to see an early screening of the movie, and that was hosted by Amazon Prime, and there was a pop-up there that was really fun with a lot of cool activities to do before the movie, and they had boxes with Wicked merch. So you're gonna this video is gonna start with an unboxing of the Amazon Prime Wicked for Good swag box that they gave me, and the audio may or may not be the best, depending. I'm gonna try my best to make it good. It's hard when you are doing a different style of video than you usually do. So I'm gonna try my best with giving you guys quality audio. And then the second part of this video is going to be my top 13 top 13 movie musical moments list. I tried to make it 10, but I couldn't do just 10. I was going to do honorable mentions. I came up with superlatives, kind of like a high school yearbook. In a high school yearbook, you got like most likely to be nominated for a Grammy or win a Grammy, and who's the biggest class clown and stuff like that. So this, instead of a chronological list of like what I think, or not, yeah, I guess like a chronological list of like what I think is the most important to least important. All of these I think are great to varying degrees, and not varying degrees. All of these are just great, and it's hard to rank them. So I just gave specific categories. You'll see as we go along the specific categories for my list. Let's get into it. So today I saw Wicked for Good, and Prime Video, Amazon hosted a pop-up at the location that I went to see the movie, and I wasn't prepared for how decked out they were, and luckily I was able to get some swag before the movie started. I had to rush to get to the movie on time. I barely did, and there wasn't as many trailers as usual, so luckily I was able to still catch the movie on time. But I'm curious what's in this beautiful box that they gave. I mean, if you look here, they got this beautiful Wicked Yellow Brick Road tape on it. So I'm gonna open it now. If you see a jump cut in this video, that's because I wanted to cut out me cutting the tape, so you're not just bored to death with watching me cut tape. It's not even like normal duct tape. It's like it's in like, even the box is like a harder material than I expected, than like normal cardboard box that you get in the mail. It's like tougher than I expected, to be honest. So I struggled a little bit. We'll see what's in here now. Okay, well, to start, there's this beautiful gold wrapping in the, there's a lot of goodies in here. First off, there is this beautiful hairbrush. It says Wickedly Brave. It says detangler and bow clip. This is a really pretty hairbrush. I don't know if you see the design. It's very shimmery, like the colors of like Emerald City Gold. Gorgeous. I already am digging what's in this box. There's more to come. There's Wicked for Good nails. Here, close up. Here, this is probably probably better for y'all to see. Emerald gold designs, very pretty. We got, I got a Glinda in her nightgown that she wears in the Wicked movie, Funko Pop. This is pretty cool to get. Much appreciated. Apparently, they have other Funko Pops. They got Alphaba as well. They got Glinda in her bubble gown, Fiero, and then Madame Morrible. So I'm curious if other boxes have other Funko Pops. I did get another box as well, so it'll be interesting to see if it's the same Funko Pop or not in each. I have this cool Wicked Uno card deck that I love. I love Uno. I like cool customized card decks. I like board games. So if I'm doing a game night, I'm bringing this to show off. And then people are going to be like, how did you get that? I'm going to tell this story forever now. Cool. A little tumbler, I think. It says Tervis is, I think, the brand. Really cool. I feel wicked. Oh, and they got a little hat on the design. And all these, like, flowers. It's kind of like the poppy flowers in Wizard of Oz. Very interesting design. This little, I don't know if tumbler is the right word, but if not, you know what I mean. But this beautiful designed cup. Gorgeous. Everything so far, I was not expecting this to be as decked out. I mean, when I saw the box, I said maybe there's some, like, it's, like, really cool merch and stuff. I'm trying to think what this is called. It's kind of, it's like a toy in a different language. No, it's not in a different, no, there's English in here. Sorry, it took me a second. This toy, it's like a collector's toy. It's like a balloon and I guess different things for, but yeah, this little balloon figurine. So this is interesting, this collector's item. There's a lot of like green pink wrapping, and I'm making sure I'm not missing anything else. There's like at least one more. Oh, there's a couple more things I don't want to miss. Okay. I got Wicked for Good dry shampoo. Wow. They really gave this swag box is like, wow, interesting. Okay, wow. Again, everything's like really well designed. I guess you can get all this on Amazon. I know Amazon and Wicked have a collab right now. I think it's like Oz for Amazon or Oz on Amazon. So I guess check out some of these products. I'm guessing that's what these products are, and they want people to show it off, which is working since that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm praising this stuff. So they got some cool stuff that might be worth getting. And then this green lip, whoa, sorry, you got the little thing there. Green lipstick, Wicked for Good. There you go. That's the swag box. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a big board game person, so I think the Uno card deck is pretty cool. That's probably gonna be my favorite. I like a lot of this other stuff too, though. But thank you, Amazon, for giving me this box. And I love Wicked for Good, the movie. I had a really fun time. Did a good job of like making everyone hyped up before the movie and really excited. And there was some cool stuff that I'll post on my stories that was at the pop-up besides just this getting this box. So yeah, I hope everyone else enjoys this movie as much as I did it. Yeah, Wicked for Good is awesome. So a lot of opening numbers often, I don't know why, they often are like set in like the morning time. Like I think of like Hairspray with Good Morning Baltimore, or like Belle, which is the opening number in Beauty and the Beast. They're like establishing the town, or like the world building. They're the environment that our characters are living in. And but there's certain ones where it's not necessarily a town or a village. Like I think of like on Broadway and all that jazz, you're establishing the theater community and the people that are like auditioning for this play. Um, and Another one that's not necessarily like character building or world building as much that sticks out to me is Little Shop of Horrors, where you have the credits playing and you get this like cool little Motown song at the beginning. But my number one choice for best opening number is Another Day of Sun in La La Land. I feel like this is one of those songs that even from people I know that don't love La La Land as much, they at least enjoy this number. And I feel like, or just people who normally don't like movie musicals, who are just casual fans, I hear like Another Day of Sun. It's very energetic and lively, and it establishes the world building of LA, which is where La La Land takes place. And it's very colorful and bright, and Damien Chazelle does a really good job of introducing us and getting people immediately interested in this story. So there are two types of movie musicals, and the first one is the Backstage musical. Backstage musicals are musicals that take place in show business. When the musical genre first emerged in movies, it came from the time period during the transition from silent film to talkies, also known as films with sound. And the first movie that's known for this is The Jazz Singer. Um, so to me, my two favorite musicals of all time are Singing in the Rain and All That Jazz. And Singing in the Rain has hands down the not just the most iconic musical number, but the most iconic movie moment being Gene Kelly holding the lamppost with just glee on his face, and it's pouring raining on him, but he's just so happy. Um, this whole musical takes place during the time period that the genre emerged from in the first place, and they filmed this movie in the 50s. Believe Stanley Donen is the director. And MGM during this time made a lot of musicals under a producer named Freed. I think Arthur is his first name. Arthur Freed, I believe, is his name. And the Freed unit made a lot of musicals, and Singing in the Rain is probably the most iconic of them. And, well, technically, I think you can mark Wizard of Oz as the beginning of his reign as well. That's another really iconic one. But Singing in the Rain was filmed in the 50s, but it reflects on the time period during this transition to sound in a very satirical manner. And it shows you people in show business struggling to adjust to this change in a very clever way. And yeah, that's why I chose this. So the second type of movie musical is the integrated musical. Basically, the musical numbers are more integral to the storytelling, and it doesn't necessarily need to take place in show business. So, like, one of the first big examples of this was MGM's Wizard of Oz. And Somewhere Over the Rainbow is, to me, the most iconic I Want song. When you're talking about movie musicals, the I Want song is the song that the main character, as I Want insinuates, explains their desires and what they want and their goals in life. And Somewhere Over the Rainbow, it's such a beautiful song with Judy Garland's voice, and you see her desire to get out of this black and white world and experience something with a bit more color, and just like to live a life beyond the simple farm life that she's living. And it's so simple but effective, since she's mostly just staying in place the whole number, and yet it's so moving as an audience member. Other I Want songs like that come to mind are like Disney is known for like Part of Your World, where Ariel says, I want to be where the people are. Belle, the Belle reprise, you have in Beauty and the Beast, you have Belle saying, I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. And like those are explicit lyrics of her saying I want. I don't think Judy Garland explicitly says I want in Somewhere Over the Rainbow from memory. Maybe she does, but I think the lyrics are effective nonetheless. So for me, when I was thinking of like ensemble numbers, a lot of like the ones that came to mind, weirdly enough, were a lot of the New York-based musicals, like Fame with the taxi, like people dancing on the taxis. I was thinking of America and West Side Story with Rita Moreno and Ariana DeBose in the most recent version. When I was younger, I did Annie, and I know I used to love It's a Hard Knock Life. That's another one that's really fun to do. Like, I played Molly when I was a kid, and I remember like jumping into like the laundry basket and having all the laundry dumped on me. That's a really fun number. I feel like a good ensemble number establishes like a sense of community beyond the main character. And so my number one choice for this is 96,000 and In the Heights. I feel like In the Heights, community is a central theme of this movie. It's set in Washington Heights. It's just the Latino community and as a whole, but then also the community of Washington Heights and all the different personalities that live there. And 96,000, you're establishing that there's a lottery that multiple people in the neighborhood are trying to win. And you see the different people that are playing the lotto and the things that they want. And John M. Chu is getting a lot of credit for Wicked and what he did with Wicked Part 1 and Part 2. But I think you wouldn't have Wicked Part 1 and Part 2 without In the Heights. And something that stood out to me when he did In the Heights, and even like some of his other previous movies, like Step Up 2 and Step Up 3, is he knows how to do elaborate musical sequences with that like takes advantage of the medium of film to its full potential. And the pool sequence in particular stands out to me because it's like the modern equivalent to these like aqua musicals you used to have back in the day in the 40s and 50s or so. There was this famous actress named Esther Williams, and she was known for these musicals and with elaborate water sequences where she would do synchronized swimming and diving with other people in the cast. And she would do this like multiple musicals in a row, which is crazy. And since she since not everyone has that capability of dancing in general, but swimming and dancing at the same time is pretty cool. So I feel like the pool sequence is like the closest we get to that in modern day. And there's just some really cool stuff in this scene in particular. And it's not an easy scene. When you're working with water, it's not easy. And a ton of people and a lot of moving pieces. And it's really impressive. So, yeah. Good. I mean, John M. Chu deserves all the credit. As I was watching Wicked for the first time, I remember saying to myself, specifically during the Wizard and I number with Cynthia Erivo, I was thinking to myself, this is the only modern movie I can think of that's come even close to capturing the feeling that I felt when I used to watch um, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney as a kid. There's just like a certain magic watching those two performers just go off, and specifically with the impossible slash it's possible number. um, Whitney Houston is just, to me, the best singer of all time in general, like even outside of musicals. So to have a movie musical where you get to actually see her sing, I think this is, I know most people consider her general pop songs or like her songs on the Bodyguard soundtrack to be like her best songs. But for me, this is my personal favorite Whitney Houston song. And there's something just so magical that makes you feel like you can do anything, especially when you're a kid, when you see those two just sing. And it's special. And I think not a lot of movie musicals that I've seen throughout my time has even come close to that magic feeling. Wicked is the closest I've gotten. I will say, in regards to like another song that like inspires me, that's not related to these two, I think Queen Latifah's performance in Hairspray is underrated, specifically in the song I Know Where You've Been. And you're talking about just like the civil rights movement a little bit with that song and just that movie. That song is very powerful. So I just mentioned that I thought Whitney Houston is one of the best singers of all time. So there's a lot of great performers throughout musical theater history, and the just some of the vocals on these people is just so breathtaking. And I've been lucky enough to see some people perform live. There's just some icons. I think besides Whitney Houston, some others that come to mind is like Julie Andrews in like musicals like Sound and Music and Mary Poppins. I love her song Feed the Birds in Mary Poppins. It's just so soothing to me hearing her voice. And then there's people, I guess, in modern times, the closest to an MVP I would say would be Jennifer Hudson. She kills it with songs like And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going and Dreamgirls. And like she shows, even in like a musical like Cats, which I don't like and I thought was a terrible adaptation, like Memory was such a moving performance from her, regardless of the bad CGI. Her vocals are amazing. So, but for me, I think my all-time favorite vocal performance is my Jewish queen, Barbra Streisand, in Don't Rain on My Parade. That is a number. When it comes, you're just like, you go, girl, get it, sing your heart out. I'm a huge fan of Funny Girl, and just Barbra Streisand's voice in general, even outside of musicals. She changed Hollywood for the better at the time, and in the 60s she like changed the idea of what a leading woman could be. So some of the songs I've mentioned so far can actually count as like first act finales. To me, when I think of a first act finale, a good first act finale is Phantom of the Opera with the chandelier crash. The play starts, you see the chandelier on the stage, you see the chandelier rise to the ceiling, and then right before that first act ends, bam, it goes crashing down, and the audience is left just being like, what just happened? And is left wanting to know more and see what happens next. That's exactly what John M. Chu did with Defying Gravity and Wicked. He totally redefined the way a first act finale could be done. Usually you have musicals, you only have one movie. You don't have a part one and a part two. And he did a very bold, risky decision of deciding to split Wicked into two separate movies. And when it was first announced, a lot of casual moviegoers were like, our musical people were like, what? Who weren't familiar with the musical? Like, why would it be a part one and part two? I think a lot of the Wicked fans who had already seen the play were like, oh, we know exactly why it's a part one and a part two and where he's going to end part one. And Defying Gravity, he totally redefined the way Defying Gravity had been done before. And I love that musical number, and I think some people will argue it's the best musical number of all time, Defying Gravity. But what he did with Cynthia Erivo, he used the medium of film to enhance that moment. You see the flashes of her inner child. She's looking at her inner child, and then she grabs her hand and just reclaims her sense of agency with that number. And then just seeing her in the air and seeing her sing her heart out, and the visuals of her flowing outfit is just so breathtaking. Watching that in a theater for the first time, and everyone was just blown away. And yeah, and everyone was left being like, what's gonna happen next? Is John M. Chu gonna deliver with part two? And he did exactly that. He delivered on part two. So a patter song. Some of you are probably like, what is a patter song? I've never heard that term in my life. Basically, a patter song is like a song that is sung or spoken where the main character speaks or sings really quickly while still maintaining tempo. And it's really hard to do. It requires like good breathing skills. An iconic example is Your Fault in Into the Woods, where different characters are blaming the other character and being like, this is your fault. And it creates a lot of tension because it's so fast-paced. A lot of the times patter songs are often like comedic relief in a musical. So the reason I chose Therapy in Tick Tick Boom with Andrew Garfield and Vanessa Hudgens is because I thought it was just a funny take on just like therapy and just like the back and forth of a couple and in a session. So a lot of like the villain songs that come to most people's mind is like the Disney musicals. There's so many iconic Disney villains. I mean, like Ursula, Poor Unfortunate Souls. You got Scar with Be Prepared. But then sometimes there's like slightly more obscure villains like Frollo and Hunchback of Notre Dame. And people like those songs as well. There's some passion for those songs. Outside of Disney musicals, I think a couple come to mind. If you're talking like a traditional villain song, some people are going to say it's recency bias. I think Renee Rapp singing World Burn in Mean Girls is so chilling, and the look she gives to the camera when she's just staring in that song, oh my god. It's just like, you don't want to mess with Regina George in that movie after that song. It just like, yeah. You believe she wants to just burn the world. It just like, that's a great song. I mean, a great example of a traditional villain song. But my personal choice for this is There Are Worse Things I Can Do in Greece, because I think Rizzo is technically the mean girl character. She likes to tease Sandy, the protagonist, Olivia Newton-John, who I love, and who's just cool as well in her own way. But yet Rizzo, I think with that number in particular, it's you get to see a more vulnerable side to her, and kind of like understand her psychology a bit more. And I think I respect storytelling that makes you be able to empathize with a villain's perspective a little bit, because it's a tricky thing to pull off effectively when you're doing it, and a lot of times people don't pull it off. But whether it's musicals or not, in this particular number, I think pulls it off very beautifully, and it's a very underrated number when you're talking about Grease as a whole. So it's hard to choose a moment for this category without spoiling too many musicals. My absolute favorite moment that luckily doesn't spoil a musical is just Anne Hathaway singing I Dreamed a Dream in Les Mis. There's a reason she won the Oscar that year. I know people have since then been questioning her, and they're like, is she a bit of a diva that doesn't really respect the Oscars, or respect or that she won and take it seriously enough. Regardless, it's just such a moving performance, that song, and the character is just, you just really feel for that character. And the whole thing with Les Mis is it's about the revolution, and you see this song in particular really establishes just the level of poverty that people in France were experiencing at the time, and just the means what people would do to get money, and it just the people like this are the reason that the revolution had to happen in the first place. So this is a really good example of effective storytelling. There are multiple iconic Disney moments. You got the opening number in Lion King, Circle of Life. You got romantic ballads like A Whole New World. I know one of my personal favorites is I Won't Say I'm in Love in Hercules. Susan Egan sings that, who actually most people don't realize played Belle on Broadway, which connects to my number one choice for this. Usually, this moment doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion. Everyone talks about the Beauty and the Beats number where Mrs. Potts is singing Tale as Old as Time, and etc., etc., etc. lyric. Nobody talks about the instrumental music in Beauty and the Beast as much. Alan Menken, this is hands down, I think, his best score, and specifically the piece Transformation is his best work he's ever done. You feel all of the emotions in that scene that Belle is going through in that moment, and it's such a good just piece of storytelling through audio in a short span of time. And before I even knew what a movie score was, this was probably the first example I can think of that moved me without me fully having the words to articulate it yet. And it's the moment where the transformation happens at the end of Beauty and the Beast, it's such a cool, special, magical movie moment. And there's a reason that Beauty and the Beast was, I think, the first Disney movie to be nominated for Best Picture. And I think part of it is just because of magical moments like this and how great the animation is. I actually went to a Disney exhibit once, that had the storyboards for this specific scene. And they played the score in the background while showing you the line drawings and the black and white line drawings of this scene, and they would flip through the storyboards real quick to make it mimic a moving image. And even then it was still magical to me, and it just brought out my I felt like you could probably see the look on my face, my inner child coming out just listening to it. And it was just it's such a magical moment for me that I don't think gets enough credit. So honestly, rewatch Beauty and the Beast, or just watch that specific tree, the transformation scene specifically, and you'll see how good that musical, the instrumental music is. There are a lot of variations on the romantic ballad, which is just like two characters or one character singing to another character, showing their love for the other character. You got some silly ones like Lay All Your Love on Me and Mamma Mia. You got some like ones with like really powerful vocals like Ewan McGregor in Moulin Rouge with like Your Song and Come What May. You got some more like intimate moments like I Should Tell You in Rent. Um, that's a very underrated one, I think. And then going back to the topic of John M. Chu in The Heights, I feel like with the song When the Sun Goes Down, he took um, a moment that could have easily been very formulaic and generic with just the two characters look on the balcony and just looking at the sun, and it could have been very generic, but he decides to turn it into something beautiful by having them dance on the side of the building, and the visuals are gorgeous. um and then you got like instrumental pieces like Mia and Sebastian's theme in La La Land. In my opinion, you don't have Mia and Sebastian's theme in La La Land without um, my my number one choice for this, which is the final song in Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Les Poupées de Cherbourg in French. Um, this is a French musical that was very influential. The shot of just Catherine Deneuve and the leading man in this with the snow is just it's so gorgeous, and it's such a important movie moment in the history of movie musicals, and that I wanted to highlight. You Damien Chazelle was influenced by this, and that's with a lot of his movies. And there's other people like even outside of musicals like Greta Gerwig who were influenced by the aesthetic of this movie, and it's a gorgeous instrumental piece. So a couple of the ones I mentioned, like Umbrella of Cherbourg and La La Land, have really good closing numbers. Um, Hands down, my favorite closing number of all time is in All That Jazz. All That Jazz was directed by Bob Fosse. If you don't know Bob Fosse, he's a very important figure in musical theater history. And this movie is semi-autobiographical. You have Roy Scheider playing a Bob Fosse surrogate, and he's this alcoholic womanizer who's just overworking himself and constantly jumping from one project to the next project. And the end of this movie does a really good job with this closing number of externalizing the main character's internal thoughts and what's going in his head near the end of this movie. And it's just this is there. This is my second favorite movie musical after Singing in the Rain. And the first time I watched it, I was just like, I don't know how to feel about this. But I think if you're talking about an important figure like Bob Fosse, being vulnerable enough to show so much self-awareness about his flaws, and you see that in this movie, especially this ending. I hope you had fun listening to me discuss John M. Chu musicals like Wicked and In the Heights, as well as other great movie musicals. If you want to see more content from me next month, aka December, I am going to share my top 10 movies of 2025 list, which I'm very excited to unveil. And I also do short movie reviews that are around a minute as well. I usually post those on this YouTube channel as well as TikTok and Instagram. So you can subscribe here and follow those accounts as well at Red Carpet Talk with 2Ds on Instagram and on TikTok. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And I especially want to hear comments on what you consider to be the best movie musicals.